Hello students, welcome to Sreenath. In this video, we will learn the first chapter in class 7 science, which is nutrition in plants. I am Karthik. We are creating all chapters from class 6 to class 8 and it is 100% free. Please do subscribe our channel. Also follow us on Instagram and join our Telegram channel for latest updates. You can find links in the description below. Let's begin this video. Finally, what is the chapter we are going to learn? That is nutrition in plants. Nutrition in plants. Okay, how many topics we are having this chapter? In this chapter we are having 5 topics. In this chapter nutrition in plants we are having 5 topics. We will learn each topic in detail. Okay, now at the beginning we have an overview of all these 5 topics. Okay, let us join with us and start the overview. The first topic is mode of nutrition in plants. What is the mode of nutrition in plants? It is the first topic. The second topic is photosynthesis, food making process in plants. Photosynthesis, which is a food making process in plants. How plants makes their own food. This is all about the second topic. The third topic is other modes of nutrition in plants. What are the other modes of nutrition in plants? It is the third topic. The fourth topic is saprotrophs. What is saprotrophs? We are going to learn that. And the fifth topic is how nutrients are replenished in the soil. How nutrients are replenished in the soil. So that our chapter will be completed. So now we will discuss each chapter. We will discuss each topic in detail. The first topic is mode of nutrition in plant. What is the first topic? Mode of nutrition. Mode of nutrition in plants. Okay, how plants prepare their own food, how plants get nutrified, how plants getting their nutrition, how they are growing. In order to grow, in order to be healthy, we need good nutrition, good balanced diet, good nutrients like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and so many dietary fibers. All we need balanced diet. All we need so much of nutrients, good amounts of nutrients, so that we will be healthy and we will grow. But have you ever bothered about the plants? Does plants how they are getting their nutrients, how nutrition will be done in plants? Now we are going to learn about this. Okay, nutrition is the mode of taking food by an organism. What is meant by nutrition? Nutrition is the mode of taking food. How, in which mode, in which way they are taking food, in which way they are taking food. Basically we take food by preparing delicious foods in kitchen and in hotels, and we are getting those from crops, plants and animals. But how plants eating foods? What is meant by nutrition? Nutrition nothing but how organisms or how plants getting their food, how they are getting their food. The mode of taking food is called nutrition. Okay, basically here we have understood the word nutrition. The mode of taking food by organisms is called nutrition. In this nutrition we have autotrophic. What is meant by autotrophic? What is meant by autotrophic? The organisms which prepare food themselves are called autotrophic. The organisms which prepare food themselves are called autotrophic. Autotrophs. The organisms which prepare food by themselves are called autotrophs, and preparation of food by them is called autotrophic. The mode of nutrition in which organisms make food themselves from simple substance is called autotrophic nutrition. What is meant by the autotrophic nutrition? Autotrophic nutrition is nothing but the organisms which prepare food by themselves. Those mode of nutrition is called autotrophic nutrition, and the animals which prepare food themselves called autotrophs. Then what are heterotrophs? What are heterotrophs? The animals which depend on other animals or other plants. The animals or the organisms, not basically the animals. Here we are discussing about the plants. So the plants or the organisms which prepare food by themselves are called autotrophs. The plants which does not prepare food by themselves and which depend on other plants or other organisms for food are called heterotrophs. This is the difference between the auto means self, they will prepare by themselves. Hetero means other, they will depend on other plants for their nutrition, for their food. That is the difference between the autotroph and heterotroph. Now photosynthesis, food making process in plants. We have completed the first topic. First topic is nothing but what is meant by nutrition. What is meant by nutrition? Nutrition is nothing but the mode of preparing food or mode of taking food by plants or organisms is called the nutrition. In this nutrition, there are two types, that is autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. The process of or the mode of taking nutrients by preparing themselves is called autotrophic nutrition, and the plants or organisms which prepare foods by themselves are called autotrophs. What are heterotrophs? The plants or organisms which depend on other plants for food are called heterotrophs. That is the first topic. Photosynthesis, it is the second topic. Okay, photosynthesis, it is the second topic. How we will prepare food? We prepare food in kitchens or in restaurants or in different ways or in different places. But how plants prepare their food? How plants prepare their food? Plants prepare their own food. The process is called photosynthesis. Plants contains a green pigment. Basically, plants having leaves. These leaves have green pigments. What are called green pigments? Those green pigments are called as chlorophyll. What it is? Chlorophyll. So in the process of photosynthesis, what happens? The food is prepared in the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll. It helps leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight. Okay, chlorophyll. What chlorophyll will do? Chlorophyll helps leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight. This energy is used to prepare food from carbon dioxide and water. Okay, basically chlorophyll captures the energy from sunlight. And this energy is used to prepare food using carbon dioxide and water. This chlorophyll under the presence of sunlight, or they capture the energy from sunlight and synthesis carbon dioxide. You didn't know the formula of carbon dioxide because you were in the lower class, so we will write as carbon dioxide plus water. And the chlorophyll which captures the light energy and takes the carbon dioxide and water and prepares the food, which is called glucose or starch. We call it as glucose or starch. In addition to it, it will gives oxygen and what it is? Oxygen and water. So this is called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is simple. It is nothing but the green pigments which we called as chlorophyll. Chlorophyll captures the light energy and uses that light energy to synthesis carbon dioxide and water. Finally, it produces glucose, which is the food, which produces glucose, or we called it as glucose or starch, which is the food for plants. And it as a byproduct will get oxygen also. This process is called photosynthesis. Okay, it is called photosynthesis. Now, thus the sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. So finally, how photosynthesis will be done? Photosynthesis will be done with the help of light energy, capturing the energy of the sunlight only. So sun is the source of energy for all living organisms. So basically we depend on plants, but plants depend on sunlight, and it is using the energy of sun. So finally we are also depending upon the sun. So plants are depending upon the sun, animals are depending upon the sun. So sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. If there is no sun, if there is no light energy, there will be no food there will be no photosynthesis, there will be no food for plants. If there is no food for plants, there will be no plants. If there are no plants, then there is no food for us. So that then we will also not there in this universe. So sun is the ultimate source of energy. Photosynthesis is nothing but chlorophyll captures the light energy and synthesis the carbon dioxide and water, and finally forms the starch or glucose, which is called the food, plus oxygen. In photosynthesis, the chlorophyll uses uses the carbon dioxide and it releases the oxygen. How plants are getting water? Now the question is, how plants are getting water? How plants are getting water? They are getting water from roots. There is a system from roots to the leaves. There is like a water system. This is like a water system, water pipes we are having in our buildings. Similar to that, there is a water pipe. There is a connection from roots to leaves. In this connection, in that way, in that connection wires, in that connecting pumps, water and other minerals will transported from roots to leaves. So what happened? Chlorophyll is getting water. Now how will it get sunlight? If sunlight will fall on leaves, then how will it is getting the carbon dioxide? Basically, how we are living? We are living by inhaling and exhaling. We take oxygen and we release carbon dioxide. We are making respirations. Our respiration is done because of the nose. In the same way, leaves also have nose. I am telling just like a joke, but leaves has some small holes. We can see those holes under microscope only. That small holes are called as stomata. That small holes are called as stomata. Okay, basically we call it as stomata. Surrounding those holes there are some guard cells. Okay, surrounding those holes there are some guard cells. So the holes are called as the stomata, through which plants can get carbon dioxide and plants can release oxygen. Like as we inhale and exhale, as we take oxygen, as we release carbon dioxide, plants also do it. And there are some guard cells which are surrounding the stomata. In this way they are getting carbon dioxide. And how they are getting water? They are getting water from roots. There is a connection, there is a pipelining like which we have in our buildings, from roots to the leaves. So it is getting carbon dioxide. We have learned how carbon dioxide is getting by the plants, and we have learned how water is getting by the plants, and we have learned how sunlight is captured on the plants. So finally it is preparing starch or glucose and it is releasing oxygen. So this is called the photosynthesis process. The photosynthesis is nothing but the preparation of food using the sunlight, carbon dioxide and water is called photosynthesis. Okay, it's the light energy. It is taken by the green color pigment called chlorophyll, and carbon dioxide it is getting into the leaves through small pores called stomata, and the green one is called the chlorophyll. From roots it is taking water and minerals. Okay, this is called the photosynthesis. The equation is here: carbon dioxide it is from pores, stomata, and water it is from roots. Under sunlight chlorophyll, which is the green pigment or the green color pigment in the leaves, chlorophyll develops carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is nothing but starch, is nothing but glucose, which is the food, plus oxygen. It releases the oxygen. Now this is the picture of section of a leaf. What is cross section of a leaf? In this green color pigments are called chlorophyll, and these small holes are called stomata, which are used to inhale carbon dioxide and to release oxygen. And around these small holes there are some cells, we call it as guard cells. Okay, this is the leaf. There is another picture. This is a small hole called stomata, and the surroundings are called guard cells. Okay, and this is the process of photosynthesis, and these are the cross sections of leaf, chlorophyll, stomata, guard cells. All we have seen how it is getting water. It is from roots. How it is getting carbon dioxide? It is through stomata. How it is getting light energy? It falls on leaves, green color pigments. So in this way it is preparing carbohydrates or starch or glucose, whatever it can be called, and releases oxygen into the air. During the process oxygen is released, which I have told you earlier. Okay, the next one is the presence of starch in the leaves indicates the occurrence of a photosynthesis. If there is a starch in the leaves, then which shows that photosynthesis has done. Starch is also a carbohydrate. Starch is also a carbohydrate. Previously we have in our previous In our previous class we have learned how photosynthesis will be done, in how photosynthesis can be done, that we have understood previously. And in your previous classes and previous chapters you have learned how presence of starch can be tested, the test for starch. So if you want to test whether there is food prepared, whether there is starch, whether there is carbohydrates in the leaves, take the test for starch. Do the test for starch, so that if you do the test for starch, so that what will happen, if you do the test for starch, what will happen, then you can find whether there is a starch or present or not in the leaves, so that photosynthesis will be done or not, you will know. Now what is meant by algae? What is meant by algae? You often see slimy green patches in ponds or stagnant water. You will see some green patches on ponds, water, on stagnant water bodies. You will see some green patches. We call it as algae. It is in green in color, so it has chlorophyll. It can prepare their own food, okay, through photosynthesis. Okay, synthesis of food, plant food other than carbohydrates. Does synthesis of plant food other than carbohydrates. Until now what we have discussed, plants prepare their own food. What they have prepared? They prepared carbohydrates. Does plants produce, or does plants prepare other than carbohydrates? You just join with us, we will learn about it. But it is the carbohydrates are made of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. How carbohydrates are made? Carbohydrates are made of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. They are used to synthesize other components of food such as fats and proteins. Okay, basically carbohydrates are made from carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. These are used to synthesize other components of food such as proteins and fats. But proteins are nitrogenous substance. But what is the thing getting wrong is the proteins are the nitrogenous substance which contain nitrogen. From where do the plants absorb nitrogen? Basically carbohydrates. Plants prepare carbohydrates. Basically carbohydrates is from carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. From carbon dioxide gas it is getting carbon, from water it is getting hydrogen, and carbon dioxide gas there are also oxygen. So it is preparing carbohydrates. But what about proteins and fats? What about proteins and fats? How plants prepare proteins and fats? How they will get proteins? Basically proteins is a nitrogenous, what it is, nitrogenous substance. If the plant wants to prepare protein, it must have nitrogen, because protein is a nitrogenous substance. If it has a nitrogen substance, then nitrogen, then only it can prepare proteins. So from where do the plants obtain nitrogen? Then how plants are obtain the nitrogen? Yeah, here is the way. Basically we think there is a lot of nitrogen in the air, but the plants cannot directly absorb the nitrogen from the air. Then you will ask, plants are absorbing carbon dioxide directly from air, but they cannot absorb nitrogen directly from air. For that purpose, they have another alternative method. What is the alternative method? Basically what happened, recall that nitrogen is present in the abundance in the gases from the air. Basically in air there is a abundance of nitrogen. However, plants cannot absorb nitrogen in this form. So plants cannot absorb nitrogen directly from the air. Then what we have to do? Then what plants are doing to prepare proteins? Basically soil has certain bacteria that convert gaseous nitrogen into usable form and release it into the soil. Basically there are some bacteria. What they will do? They will convert nitrogen. They will convert gaseous nitrogen. What they will do? Convert into a usable form. there is some bacteria which captures the gaseous nitrogen and it converts into a usable form, and it is mixed up in the soil, so that from soil plants can absorb nutrient nitrogen. From soil it get absorb the nutrient into the soil, usual form release it into the soil. It is released into the soil. These are absorbed by the plants along with water. So along with water, nitrogen is also absorbed by plants. Along with water, nitrogen is also absorbed by plants. Gaseous nitrogen is converted by a bacteria using into another form, which is released into the soil. So in the soil there is water and there also usable form of nitrogen. So along with water, nitrogen is also absorbed by plants, so that it is preparing proteins. So plants getting nitrogen from soil along with water. Okay, now we have completed the second topic also. Now we are getting into the third topic. What is the third topic? Other modes of nutrition in plants. Basically, the first mode of nutrition in plants is the photosynthesis. Plants prepare their own food. We call it as photosynthesis. Now, other mode of we are going to discuss about some other modes of nutrition in plants. What are the other modes of nutrition in plants? Basically, in the beginning we have learned in the first topic we have learned about two terms, that is autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic means plants which prepare their own food. Heterotrophic mode, plants which depend on other plants for their food. So basically, heterophilic mode of nutrition means nothing but the mode of nutrition, nothing but the nutrition which is taken from other plants is called heterotrophic mode of nutrition. They use the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay. Basically, I will give you the example. Just see this picture. In this picture there are yellow color structures. We call it as yellow wiry branched structure. What it is? Yellow wiry branched structure twinning around the stem and branches. These structures will twin around the stem and branches of a tree. This is called this plant is called Cuscuta. Okay, what it is? Cuscuta. This green color plant is not Cuscuta. The yellow color structures which is winding around the stem and leaves, it is called Cuscuta. The yellow color structure is called the Cuscuta. It is a one type of plant. It does not have green color, it does not have leaves, so that it cannot prepare food by their own. So what it is doing? It is winding around a green another plant which is the host. And what it is doing, it has some roots. Its roots are penetrated into the body of the host plant and will absorb food and will get nutrients, and it will get nutrients from those green plant. Basically, it twinning around the green plant, and that green plant prepares food due to photosynthesis, and this green and this yellow Cuscuta plant will absorb the nutrients and food from this green plant. Okay, it takes ready-made food. It is a good word, ready-made food. Who makes it ready-made? The green plant prepares the food, and it takes that ready-made food from the plant on which it is climbing. The plant on which it climbs is called host. This green color tree, we call it as host plant. This yellow color structure plant is called Cuscuta plant, which is called as the parasite. We call it as parasite. We will also call it as parasite because it doesn't prepare food by its own. It will get its food from green color plant, which is called the host plant. Okay, this is the parasite. These are we call it as parasites. Now what we are going to learn, we have learned that some yellow color structure plants are there which will take food from green color plants, ready-made food from green color plants. They will wind twinning around those plants, and by twinning around it, and they absorb the nutrients and food from those host plant. These are called as parasites. Okay, now the insects is digested by the digestive juices secreted in the pitcher, and it is nutrients are absorbed. Such insect eating plants are called as insectivorous plants. Until now what we have studied about parasites. Example is cuscuta, which absorbs nutrients and food materials, ready-made food from the green color plants. But there are some plants, the image of these plants are like this. There are some plants which have some green parts so that it can prepare their own food. In addition to it, what they will do, they have like these structures. The structure is like that. Okay, leaf modified into picture. What happened? In these traps, insects will come and fall in these traps, and after that, what happened? The insects, when an insect lands in the picture, the lid closes. What happens? This is the lid of this picture. The lid will be closed, and the trapped insect gets entangled into the hair. What happened? That insect will be entangled into the hair. The lid closes and the insect is trapped. What happens? This plant traps some insects using their it traps some insects, and the insect is digested by the digestive juices secreted in the picture. What happened? After insect is trapped, there are some digestive juices released in this picture, and those digestive juices, what happened? They will digest this insect. And finally what happened? And finally nutrients like nitrogen, what it is, and its nutrients are absorbed, the nutrients which are in the insect are absorbed. Such insect eating plants are called as insectivorous plants. What are insectivorous plants? Means the plants which trap insects and which trap insects and get nutrients from and absorb nutrients from those insects. Basically, what are insectivorous plants? The plants which trap some insects and they get nutrients from those insects. Such plants are called as insectivorous plants. Okay, is it possible that such plants do not get all the required nutrients from the soil in which they grow? Okay, that is the third topic. We have seen the parasites and we have seen the insectivorous plants. What parasites will do? They will depend on another plant. What insectivorous will do? They will depend on insects. They will trap insects and they will get nutrients from that insect. Now fourth topic, that is saprotropes. What are saprotropes? Okay, now we are going to learn the fourth topic. Basically saprotropes are nothing but the some plants which will develop or which will grow on dead and decaying matter. Basically, after rains, you will observe mushrooms. We call it as mushrooms, packet of mushrooms. After rainy season, after a rain, what happens? We will see some mushrooms will born and they will grow. They are called the mushrooms. Basically, they didn't have any green color, so they didn't prepare food by their own. Then what they will do? They will absorb the nutrients from the decaying matter. Basically, those mushrooms are having umbrella like patches. They will growing in moist soils. That's why I called it, I tell you that after rains or rotting wood during the rainy season. In the raining season, on rotting wood also they will grow. They have umbrella like patches and they will grow in moist areas and after rains. Okay, they didn't prepare food by their own, but how they are getting food, how they are getting nutrients, they for their food or for their nutrition, it is depending on the upon the dead and decaying matter. They will absorb the nutrients from the decaying matter. That's why they are in the moist places they are growing up. Okay, the next one, you have seen these images in your day-to-day life. What it is? This is the bread. This is bread. If the bread is get moist, after that you will observe some black spots. black and white spots. We call that black and white spots as fungi. What it is? Fungi. Fungi is also a plant. Fungi is also a plant. It is developed where there is, fungi is also plant. It is developed where there is moist. It developed in the moist areas. It is also a plant. How it is getting its nutrients? It is getting nutrients from dead and decaying materials. Fungi is also getting its nutrients. Fungi is also absorbing nutrients from dead and decaying matter. So these mushrooms and fungi are absorbing nutrients on dead and decaying matter. They are depending upon the dead and decaying matter. Okay, now this mode of nutrition in which organisms take in nutrients from dead and decaying matter is called saprotrophic nutrition. What is meant by saprotrophic nutrition? Means the organisms or plants which depend on the dead and decaying matter to get nutrients is called saprotrophic nutrition, and the organisms or plants is called as saprotrophs. Previously, what are parasites? Parasites means cuscuta, which depends on another plants, are called parasites. What are called insectivorous plants, which depend on insects for their food, are called insectivorous plants. Then what are saprotrophs ones which depend on dead and decaying matters for in nutrition is called saprotrophs and saprotrophic nutrition. Fungi also grow on pickles, leather, cloths and other materials that are left in hot and humid weather for a long time. During the rainy season they spoil many things. Ask your parents about the menace of fungi in your house. If you ask your parents about fungi, they will tell you in how many places fungi is forming, how much it is disturbing us. Okay, now the new term we are going to learn is the symbiosis. There are some organisms or some bacteria. Example, for doll family plants, doll family has in their roots they have some bacteria. Basically this doll family plant providing shelter to the bacteria. In turn this bacteria is providing nitrogen to the plants. In this way, helping one together. This doll family plant is helping by giving shelter, and this bacteria is helping by giving nitrogen. This coordination, this teamwork, or this helping together is called as symbiosis. This together relationship is called as symbiosis. Some organisms live together and share both shelter and nutrients. Some organisms live together. They live this type of living together and sharing their shelter and food is called symbiosis. The relationship is called symbiosis. Okay. The next one is lichens. What is lichens? In organisms called lichens, a chlorophyll containing partner which is an algae. There is a relationship between algae and a fungus. Algae and fungus. What happened? This algae having chlorophyll, it prepares the food. And what happens? And the fungus, algae and fungus live together, provides shelter, water and minerals to the algae. What fungus will do? This algae will prepare food. What will fungus do? Fungus will give shelter, fungus will give water and minerals to the algae, so that algae prepare food, so that they live together. These are called as lichens. This is called as symbiosis. How much unity they are having? In present days we are lacking our unity, but the plants and the animals are having so much of unity, so much of kindness. They are depending on one another. But we are humans, in some areas, at some times we are not having any unity. Basically human is a dependent man, so we always depend on one another. So at all time we have unity among others, we have unity among students, we have unity among parents and neighbors and relatives. So unity is strength, which we have learned in the primary school. No, unity is strength. That because of that strength only this algae is living and that fungus is living. They both have unity and they both have sharing their food and shelter, and they are working together and they are living together. but in present scenarios, there is lack of unity among students, there is lack of unity among families, there are lack of unity among many organizations. So wherever the place you have, try to get unity, try to coordinate with all. So unity is strength. Okay students, it's just kind of motivation. Now we are going to the fifth topic. What it is? Fifth topic. The fifth topic is how nutrients are replenished in the soil. Basically, plants are absorbing water and minerals from the soil. Basically, some bacteria which is converting gaseous nitrogen into usable form, and it is releasing into the soil. But plants are absorbing the nitrogen from soil. Then what happened? The nitrogen content in the soil will be lost. The nitrogen content in the soil will be decreased, so that for another time plants cannot grow, plants cannot prepare food. So how we can replenish the soil, how we can replenish the nutrients in the soil. For that reason, if you observe, our farmers will spread fertilizers or manure. What it is? Fertilizers or manure in the fields. What does the fertilizer contains? Fertilizers and manures contain nutrients such as nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. What are the components that are in the fertilizers? Fertilizers contains nutrients like nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus, so that the nitrogen content in the soil will be replenished. Phosphorus and potassium mineral nutrients contents will be replenished. By spreading the fertilizers, we can replenish our soil, so that it will be useful for the plant growth, it will be useful for the photosynthesis, it will be useful for the food preparation, it will be useful for our food also. So how nutrients are replenished in the soil? By spreading the fertilizers. The fertilizers having the nutrients like nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus, we can replenish our soil nutrients. Okay, now another thing is, you learned that though nitrogen gas is available in plenty in the air, previously I have told you that nitrogen gas is plenty in the air, plants cannot use it in the manner they can use. Okay, plants cannot use directly the nitrogen as like as carbon dioxide. For that reason, there is a bacteria which is called as rhizobium bacteria, which converts the atmospheric nitrogen. Basically, I have told you there is a bacteria which converts the atmospheric nitrogen into an usable form, and it releases it into the soil, and the nitrogen from the soil is absorbed through roots along with water. And I will tell all the process, but I forgot to tell the name of that bacteria. The name of that bacteria is rhizobium. What it is? Rhizobium bacteria, which converts atmospheric nitrogen into usable form. Okay, basically this rhizobium bacteria is what does bacteria do? It will supply nitrogen to the foods, and at the same time that plant gives the shelter to the rhizobium bacteria. They work together. This is an example of symbiosis. Okay, now finally we have completed our chapter. Chapter completed. If you like the session, please like. If you like the session, if you love the session, please give a like and please share with your friends. Okay, don't forget to subscribe Sreenath. We are creating high quality videos which are 100% free. We creating all chapters from class 6 to class 8. So please watch all the videos, all the chapters in our channel. So don't forget to subscribe and follow our Instagram and join us Telegram channel. Now we will have a quick summary of whole chapter. Okay students, yeah. Now what is the chapter? Nutrition in plants. How plants are getting nutrients, how nutrition is done in plants. The first topic is mode of nutrition in plants. Basically, what is the mode of nutrition in plants? What is meant by nutrition? Nutrition is nothing but the mode of taking food by an organism or plant. Mode of taking food is called as nutrition. Basically, there is an autotrophs or autotrophic nutrition, in which means organisms or plants prepare food by their own. It is called autotrophic nutrition. The next one is heterotrophic nutrition, which is the plants or organisms which depend on other plants, those called heterotrophic nutrition, and the plants or organisms called as heterotrophs. This is the first topic. Next topic is the photosynthesis, food making process in plants. How plants make food. Basically, plants contains leaves contains green pigments. Those green pigments called as chlorophyll. Chlorophyll captures the light energy and use the light energy to synthesize carbon dioxide and water, and finally it produces the carbohydrates or starch or glucose, whatever we call it is, and it releases the oxygen and water. Then how it is getting water? It is getting water from the roots. How it is getting carbon dioxide? It is getting carbon dioxide from the stomata. What is the stomata? Stomata is the small tiny holes on the leaves. Basically, leaves are having small tiny holes. Those holes are we called as stomato. Those stomato are covered by some cells called guard cells. Okay, in that way we are getting carbon dioxide. Water is from roots. So we are light rays are falling on the leaves. So finally we are getting carbohydrates. Next, this is all about, this is the pictures of chlorophyll and plant class section. Now synthesis of plant food other than carbohydrates. Basically, by using photosynthesis, what we have understood, plants prepare carbohydrates. How carbohydrates can be prepared, or what are the components in carbohydrates? Components in the carbohydrates are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Basically, it is getting hydrogen from water, it is getting carbon and oxygen from carbon dioxide. So it is preparing carbohydrates. But what about proteins and fats? Does the plants produce fats and proteins and fats? If they produce proteins are being nitrogenous substances. How they are getting nitrogen? Plants are getting nitrogen by roots. Basically, there is a lot of nitrogen in the air, but they cannot absorb it as carbon dioxide. So there is some bacteria which takes atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into a usable form and release that nitrogen into the soil. So roots absorb that nitrogen along with water, so that the water and nitrogen goes through the pipelines from roots to leaves, so that proteins can be prepared. The third topic is other mode of nutrition in plants. What are the other mode of nutrition in plants? That is heterotrophic nutrition, which means plants which cannot prepare by their own, but they depend on other. These are the Cuscuta. Cuscuta is a parasite which is in yellow color shape, which depends on another plant which is called host plant. It absorbs the nutrients from those green plant. Okay. Next one is the insectivorous plants, which captures the insects, which traps the insects and absorbs the nutrients from those insects. Basically, it is having green leaves also, so it prepares some food using photosynthesis. That is the third topic. Next topic is saprotopes. What are saprotopes? Saprotopes means the organisms which absorb nutrients from dead and decaying matter. Basically, these organisms grows on dead and decaying matter, and they absorb the organic matter from the dead and decaying. Examples are mushrooms. They will grow on moist areas. Fungi, which is also plant, which we observe in breads. Now finally, symbiosis means there is unity between between living some organisms. Basically, doll family plants and the bacteria. There is a bacteria in the roots of the doll family. The plant gives the shelter to the bacteria, and bacteria gives the nitrogen to the doll family. It is the example of symbiosis. And there is a lichens. There algae and fungus living together. Algae prepares the food, while the fungus gives the shelter and water and minerals to the algae. How nutrients are replaced in the soil? Basically, we are using nutrients from soil, so that the amount of nutrients in the soil will be decreased. But how we can replenish it? By using fertilizers, by spreading fertilizers in the soil, we can replenish the nutrients in the soil. Fertilizers contains nutrients like nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus. Okay, at the same time, the bacteria, rhizobium bacteria, which converts the atmospheric nitrogen into usable form. That's it for today, guys. We have completed our summary also. So finally, one thing I have finally what I am telling you is, don't forget to subscribe Sreenath. Have a nice day. Bye bye.